Now we got everything hooked up, let's get the software going. So first thing we need to do is install the Pixelcade software. So from your browser, just go to pixelcade.org. Okay, scroll down a little bit and just hit this download. Assuming you're on Windows, if you're on Raspberry Pi, it's over here. So we'll download the Windows one. Okay, so then go ahead and run the installer. Now we have a 2-panel installation, so we're going to pick 2-panel. Okay, so it detected that we have LED Blinky installed on our D drive, so we can go ahead and stick with that installation location, that's fine. Okay, so it's going to finish the install, and it's going to give us some more information over here. The most important thing is the LED Blinky setup guide, so let's go there. Okay, so this is a little bit of a works, so sorry about that. I'll try to make this easier. But there's a number of things you got to do to set up LED Blinky, and this is just going to tell us what to do. So what I'm going to do is, in your case, you don't have LED Blinky installed, so I'm just going to reinstall it. So I'm going to download it, go to ledblinky.net. Let's hit download here, and let's just reinstall it. And I'm putting my D drive, the LED Blinky folder. You can just pick, you actually don't need these other things, so we can leave those alone. Actually, I take that back. If you're running game X, then you do want that. Not sure what that one is, but I'll just pick that one also. Okay. Alright, so we've got LED Blinky, we've got our guide. The first thing we should do, though, is let's test Pixelcade and make sure we have everything set up right. So if you go to Device Manager, a little shortcut is devmgmt.msc, and go to your ports. So Pixelcade, it's going to show up as a USB serial device, and then our Arduino, which is being used to run these little side displays, is also going to show up as a USB serial device. So to be honest, I don't know which one is which. So we'll take a guess. If we don't get it right, we can just flip it around. No big deal. But we know we have one on 3 and one on 5. So let's go here. Let's go down to Pixelcade. And we're going to go to Settings. Okay, so I also need to install the .NET framework. Let's do that. Okay, so we got .NET installed. Now let's go there again. So I want to go to Pixelcade Settings. So I'm just going to take a guess here, but so we want to tell the program what port Pixelcade is on, so I'm just going to guess it's on COM5, and then I'm going to guess that our Arduino, or what I'm calling here the sub-display accessory, is on COM3. And again, if we get this wrong, we just switch it around. Let's put yes, and let's put yes. Okay, I think that's it. Let's save and close. Okay, so now let's go ahead and launch what's called the Pixelcade listener. Okay, we need to allow access. And this is the little program that's always running in the background. It's running minimized, but let's go ahead and open it. And so it looks like we guessed right. So it found Pixel, and it also found our display accessories. So perfect. Good. So that works, so we can just actually leave that open. So now let's go to LED Blinky. And specifically, I want to look up our, I think it's under How To, our LED Blinky guide. Again, this is a little bit of a pain in the butt, so you just got to bear through it. So let's go down here, LED Blinky for Pixelcade guide. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to launch a program called LED Blinky. Oh, so sorry. So first thing we need to do is go to our arcade front end. In this case, we're using Hyperspin, but if you're using GameX or Launchbox, that also works fine. And we need to tell it where LED Blinky is. So let's go to Hyper HQ. Okay, and I think it's under Tools. And then, so I've already set this up, but I've told it, okay, LED Blinky is here, we're going to enable it. So then you can just save. Then let's go ahead and launch the LED Blinky config program. So now launch configure LED Blinky. Configure LED Blinky. Let's see if I can put these side by side. Okay, so we just need to go down this list. So we're going to go over here, and we need to tell LED Blinky what front end we're using. So we're using Hyperspin. Then we need to go enter here. Let's see, FE options, main menu. We need to add a couple more. Okay. Check demo game controls. And so what this means is, let's see, demo game controls, okay. Then let's go to MAME settings. Okay, MAME config folder. So this is going to be in our D drive where we have our MAME emulator. Emulators. There's quite a few. Let's just pick MAME. Fig. Okay. And then there's this colors.ini file. Looks like that's already there. And then we have this MAME MAME.xml, which we may have to generate, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so with this MAME XML, again, I'm not sure why this is easier, but that's okay. So let's go out to command line. And we're going to go to our MAME folder. Okay, and we're just going to type this command. So it's going to be mame.eac/list XML, and then pipe that to a file called mame.xml. Okay, so that's done. Let's check if our file is there. Wow, it's a big file. That's why it took so long. Okay, so then now let's add that here. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, so what this means is, in our case, we're only using LED Blinky for Pixelcade. We're not using the other features of LED Blinky, which are actually quite nice, and you can actually do animations on your buttons themselves if you have light up buttons or RGB light up buttons. But we don't have that, so we're going to say no LED mode, which basically means we're not using those. Now let's go to the Integrations tab. We're going to enable Pixelcade, and we need to tell it where Pixelcade is installed. So if you remember, we installed Pixelcade under the LED Blinky folder, so it's right there. Okay, I think I gotta click into it. There we go. And here's where you can start to customize. So let's say that when Pixelcade first launches, you want to scroll some scrolling text. So I can just say Al's Arcade. And then this is the speed of the scrolling text. So let's leave the default for now, and we can change that if it's too fast or too slow. And the color, I like to leave it at random. It does a different color every time. It's kind of fun. And then let's go to Integrations tab, enter this setting. Okay, Integrations tab, front end scroll, display system image. Okay, so that's already good. That's set there by default. Good. Okay, so here we want to say emulator image. So I think that's already by default, so we're okay. Some of these we got them in the default, so just check to make sure they're there. Okay, so FE active, no image, this is good. Yeah, I think the default here is also fine. FE quit. Okay, so here you can just put a little message when the user quits out of the front end, so I can say, thanks for playing. Again, these are all things that you can customize for your... Okay, so this is kind of nice. This is a screensaver, so when Hyperspin or your front end goes into screensaver mode, we can play little animations. So I'm going to pick animation, and let's just pick one here. Got a Pac-Man one, it was kind of fun. Okay.
Lastly, you need to select an arcade front end. Your choices are Hyperspin, GameX, Launchbox. There's actually quite a few out there now. I chose Hyperspin for this project. Hyperspin definitely looks the most beautiful. It's the best looking front end. That's why I picked it. I think it's also the biggest pain in the butt to set up. So you really need to understand exactly what's going on with Hyperspin. It's not just a run, set up, and go, unfortunately. So if you're into that and you're willing to take the time to learn it, it's good. But if you just want to get up and running, do not go with Hyperspin. It's just too much work, and it's just a pain in the butt. I don't know how else to say it. So Hyperspin or your front end, that's one decision you need to make. And then the next thing is you're going to need a key mapper, because if you want to run multiple emulators, each emulator uses a different keyboard inputs. And so the best way to say it is that the emulators like MAME don't really go well with a joystick. So in other words, if you only had a keyboard and you knew that the space was a fire button, for example, or the A was turn left, then you wouldn't need a joystick. Of course, it wouldn't be very user-friendly to use a keyboard. So what these key mappers do is they basically convert a joystick movement or a button press that your Windows operating sees as, button 1, converts, for example, button 1 into X which is what MAME wants. MAME wants letters. It doesn't want a joystick input. So that's what the key mapper does. There's two key mappers out there. One is called Joy to Key. One is called XPatter. I tried them both out. They're pretty much the same. Maybe XPatter is a little bit more user-friendly.